Hey, good morning. It is morning somewhere, right? Oh, hold on. You got him, the ski man. How can I help? Yeah? Yeah, we could probably do that. Hey, I'm actually in the middle of a video I'm recording. Can I call you back? Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. Hey, I'm your host, Jeff Ski Kinsey, and come to you live. Okay, maybe it's recorded by the time you get to it, but come to you from my mobile recording studio, which happens to be a Nissan Leaf. It's an all-electric car, zero emission. They got stickers all over the car, zero emission, okay, emission. But we call it the Towncar, and some of you might have heard of it. Long story short, I got a great deal on it, and it's like the perfect car for us for around town. That's why we call it the Towncar. Because I told my wife, I said, look, it's like 12 years old. It's a 2013, and the battery's half used up. So new, this car only went 74 miles on a full charge. So yesterday or day before, for the first time ever, we've had it about 9 months. First time ever, I got it charged up to 38 miles. Okay. But I told my wife, I said, look, as long as you don't leave town, you can go anywhere you want. Two things. Don't get on the expressway. We live in a little community, Dover, New Philadelphia, and there's 250 and 77. And so I said, as long as you don't get on the expressway, because high speeds really chew up the battery, and stay away from all the hills that you can. But other than that, wherever. We charge it at home, obviously. But for the first, 3 to 5 months, I charged it publicly. We didn't have the correct wiring. We had to get that fixed. But hey, I'm getting way off topic. And by the way, one of the cool things about this is it's a car. Okay? You say, well, ski. It's obvious it's a car. I can see that. But no. Tesla has created this thing they even got an acronym for it. It's software as a vehicle or something. I forget what it stands for. But basically, you got a touch screen in the middle of the dash. And in some models, that's all. You got no other gauges. Everything's in the middle with very few exceptions. But this Leaf, what it was, and by the way, I just calculated the other day, I've owned more Nissans. Well, back in the day, they were Datsuns. But I've owned more Datsun Nissans than any other brand of vehicle. So pretty big fan. When I was a kid, I don't think I had my driver's license yet. I don't remember what year the 240Z came out, but it captured most everyone's attention. And so sometime after my wife and I got married, we had a 280Z 2+2, which meant it had this little back seat that if your kids had legs, they would not be able to use. It was that tight and small in the back. I'm getting way off topic, but sometimes the backstory is good. So I consider this my recording studio. Now, if any of you have watched any of my videos over the years, you know I've had PT Cruisers as my mobile recording studio, had a Kia Soul, Jeep Wrangler. We still have the Jeep Wrangler 2-door Sport. But this thing, I just absolutely love it. And it's a car. They took the motor out of a Nissan and they put in an electric motor. They jacked it up. There's no axle. Of course, it's front-wheel drive, but there's no axle. But they created this bathtub-like enclosure with a top on it and shoved it up underneath the car for the battery pack. But otherwise, it's got like 100 buttons. There's a button or a lever for everything because it's a car that they took the combustion engine out of, ICE, internal combustion engine, took it out and stuck in an electric motor. So we just love the thing. It handles great and it gets really good mileage. Sorry about that. My phone is blowing up, which means my Fitbit-like device is blowing up. But here's the funny part. kind of sad, but I do not recommend you go buy a Nissan Leaf, not even a new one. I think the range on the new Nissans the new Leafs, they still sell them. It's supposed to be over 200 miles. Here's why I can't recommend it. We drove one, I think it was a 2013. No, maybe it was newer than that. 2022 Nissan Leaf, similar to this, but it didn't have all. This is a Model S or a Model SL. It's got heated seats, the front, the rear, the steering wheel. I mean, it's got AM, FM, satellite radio, CD. I mean, it's got the works. So we drove this 2022 or 2023, and it seemed to make more noises. It was not a leather interior. And so we drove it, and we went around the block, and we jumped on the Interstate 77, went around the block, so to speak, and come back, and had used up like 7% of the battery just in this. I would say that was probably a 5-mile circuit, and we used up 7% of the battery. So they're not for everybody. That's the point I'm trying to make. I love it. It's a great car. There's others, like there's this guy, Kyle. He's got this out of spec. You may have seen him if you're into EVs. You might have seen his his YouTube channel. He's got a bunch of out of spec spin-offs, and he's got one, and I used to make fun of him because it's like, it doesn't get any range, and it's a car. It's not really an EV, but it is an EV. And it's like, he bought one, he did a review, and his is wrecked, and I think he paid more than I did. And he's like, this is a cool little car. And so I changed my vantage point. And it's like, maybe I'll look into that. Next thing I know, I'm talking to a buddy, and he knows this deal, and I end up getting it. And it's like, we love it. So they're not for everybody. If you know exactly what you're looking for, like this car will not leave Dover, Newfoundland area probably ever. Okay, it's here to stay, maybe. And so that's not what everybody thinks of when they think of an EV. But it's saving us like $80 a month in fuel. Okay, we're not buying gasoline for the Jeep. The Jeep, I don't think it's even getting 50 miles a month, maybe a little more. But anytime we got to go anywhere, we jump in this unless we got to leave town, which is rare. So, hey, I said all that to say, this is my mobile recording studio. I kind of get off topic. But what's happened, I retired, as some of you know, at the end of last year. Again, I retired my vision when I got out of the Marine Corps, got into business, bought a business, and this, that, and the other. And I thought, I got out at age 20, and I thought, by 25 I'll be retired. That didn't work. But I did get retired at age 47, first time. Well, I don't know if this is the 4th or 5th time, maybe even the 6th time I've retired. And I think this time I went 2 weeks, and it's like, I got to do something. So I've relaunched RhinoIsland Media. I've done marketing for myself and others for over 30 years. And I got a client outside of Ohio, I won't say where. I helped them with their digital agency, did some consulting, asked them to look at some things, and just, give them a second opinion, so to speak. And it's like, now that I'm retired and I can do anything I want or nothing, and I'm horrible at doing nothing, I said, well, why don't I dust off RhinoIsland Media and let's update it. And so I went through a couple iterations of the website. And then a couple of the people that I follow and know, I think pretty well, have seen them at events around the country. And we communicate, not often, but some. 2 different people in the marketing agency space, said 2 different things that hit me like a ton of bricks. This is kind of the backstory. And it's like, wow. And I remember it's probably been 2 years ago now, maybe 3, I don't know, when ChatGPT burst on the scene. And I think it was within 90 days, maybe less, maybe 30 days, they had over 1 million users of ChatGPT. And many of us kept saying, this is going to change everything. This is going to change everything. Well, one or both of these two mentors of mine, that I've also mentored them in some regards, they both said, it's here, it's now. And so I said, well, what does that mean? And so I did some soul searching, and what it means is, over the weekend, in less than 48 hours, I morphed my company from a more traditional digital and or print marketing agency. I have two focuses. One is authors or soon to be authors, helping them get their books either published, but mostly in the hands and get them on best-selling lists. I've helped 13 or 14 other authors do that sort of thing, help them with their launches over the years. And so that's one focus. The other is hospitality. I've spent about 10 years in the hospitality space, mostly resort destinations like Hilton Head Island, Myrtle Beach, Gulf Shores, Alabama, in Ohio, out in what we call Amish country. And so those are my two focal points. But I sat down and I looked at this, and the bottom line is, I reinvented the agency over this past weekend. We're now an AI studio. Okay, what's that mean? Well, I'm kind of making it up as I go, so I can define it any way I want, right? So if you are a marketing agency, and digital or print, and or, doesn't matter, okay, you need someone who knows something about tech. That would be me, 20 plus years in the tech, what we call full life cycle dev, full stack. In fact, any day now they're supposed to pull the plug on an app I wrote 23 years ago in 30 days and rolled out, and it's been helping this gentleman run his company, millions of dollars in revenue, for 23 years. And it just works. Okay, so I'm pretty good at some things. So if you're a marketing agency, digital and or print, and you're saying, I need a trusted advisor, a mentor in this AI space, I actually use 7 different platforms. Obviously, Grok 3 is my favorite. I got on Twitter very early. I closed my account when the idiots, the liberals, were running it into the ground. I finally got fed up and closed my account. Could not get it back. But Twitter, X, and Grok. Again, I'm a huge fan of Elon Musk. The guy is brilliant. He is focused more so than me, and that's my superpower, is focus. I can bring unbelievable power and energy and focus to a mission. But anyhow, so if you need that tech insight, one of my companies, eDivision, that I launched on Hilton Head Island just before 9/11, we were the IT department a lot of small businesses couldn't afford. So if you need that help, I'm here. And if you need help, what AI or AIs, it's definitely plural, should you be using to get your job done, to make your way in this new frontier? It's a whole new, I remember, I lived through the dot-com meltdown, 1999, 2000. And in those early days, we called the World Wide Web the Wild Wild West. Okay, we're there with AI, and the progress they're making on a daily, if not weekly basis is unbelievable. I've been tuning ChatGPT for whatever it is, 2 years now or more. And when I ask it pointed questions, when I sit down and I create a prompt to be proud of, the answers it comes back with, it just blows me away. So I use it mostly for help with writing. But Grok for the deep research, the deep, do they call it deep seek? I forget, or the think button. Oh my God. And then of course I love Perplexity. Good friend introduced me to Perplexity, and I love the references. But I use several others which shall remain nameless at this point. But hey, I'm going long, and you're going to see a whole bunch more content, by the way. I reached out during COVID. I got excited about Clubhouse. I don't know how many of you remember that app. Really a great app. And I'm an Audible person, okay? I listen to all kinds of podcasts. If you don't know about it, you need to check out All In Pod. These four guys, they call themselves the besties. 4 billionaires get together almost every week and talk about everything under the sun. But anyhow, getting again off topic, I said all that again to say that there's help. You don't have to go this alone. In the number one problem, okay, remember, find a need and fill it. That's part of marketing. And niche down, okay? The more focused, the more narrow your topic, the more money you could make, typically. And so I'm niching down in hospitality and for authors. But to help make that happen, I'm available to help your agency. In fact, I've actually got an offering I call 27 Rhinos. Think of this. I had a franchise, one of the best kept secrets in the world. If half of the startups, people that launch startups, actually talk to me before they launch their startup, half of them I would show franchises are a better way if you want to make money. So let's go make money. Then if you make a lot of money, then you can do the startup thing and throw away all the money that you want. Okay, I've done 27 startups, one franchise. I'm looking to do another franchise in my spare time. That's a whole nother conversation. But if you're a marketing agency, I can help. Okay, I've run some amazing campaigns. I helped businesses double their revenue in less than 90 days. Okay, now why do I say that? Because you don't know how to do that. If I told you I could help you increase sales or revenue or profits by 10 or 20% or maybe even 25, you would say, well, Ski, I know how to do that. You won't do it typically, but you might tell yourself you can do that. But when I tell you that I've done it more than once, because my mentor, the late Dr. Ellie Goldratt, had done it a bunch of times, and I'm using his framework with some tweaks, because I've done it, I can say it knowing that you find it very hard to believe, but it's true. So if you're fighting that feast or famine cycle that all of us, when we're sole entrepreneurs or small businesses with just a couple guys, 2 guys, a van, and an idea, or a garage in the case of Jobs and Wozniak, okay, if you're fighting that feast or famine cycle, I have your answer. And I'm willing to share it with you for a price, Ugadi, for a price, as Rick said in Casablanca. So, hey, I went way long. That was partially, oh yeah, I mentioned Clubhouse. So I hear this guy, race car, out on 77. I hear this guy, Evan Carmichael, and he's playing on Clubhouse, because you could do that. You could set up, like, I forget what they're called now. I guess rooms. You could set up rooms, and he would play Les Brown sessions, webinars, and whatnot. He'd play Grant Cardone and a whole bunch of other people. I think he probably did Brian Tracy, probably. I could go on and on. But anyhow, I see this thing on a YouTube short. Evan says, hey, if you need help with your YouTube channel, reach out. Let's get together. And I did so, and I met with one of his guys. Actually, this morning I had a conversation to confirm and get some insight. And so bottom line is, we're going to And I've got, I don't know, probably 100 or more videos out there, but it's always been as a topic comes up, I throw it out without a real agenda. That's going to change. That's the big thing that happened over the weekend. With this new rollout, we're doing like a media calendar. Okay, when I created a magazine and newsletters and podcasts, we had an editorial calendar. This week we're doing X, or this month we're doing Y. Whatever. Okay, you're going to see a lot more long form video from the Ski Man. But the cool thing is, if there's something you need help with, you want me to attack it in public without mentioning your name, I could do that. Or if you want to pay me, you could do that. So check it out, RhinoIsland.online. Okay, Rhino Island, one word, dot, means it's a website, online. Check it out, reach out. My mobile number's on there. Please don't call me, because I don't answer phone numbers I don't recognize. So you'll see everywhere on my website, on LinkedIn, X, everywhere I say, hey, text me a message. Hey, Ski, are you free? Now I got your phone number, and I know you're interested in something I've said, and I'll call you back, and we'll figure out a time either right then and there, which I much prefer, or some other time. And I give anybody 30 minutes for free. Now, I'd like to stay confined to the US of A, but that may not be possible. I have contacts around the globe. So I think that's kind of a wrap up. Okay, so Jeff Ski Kinsey. I'm the creative director and founder of RhinoIsland Media. I'm calling it now RhinoIsland Media 2.0. Okay, and we've got our own AI that we're looking for people to join with us and perfect it, called Rhino Gator AI. That's a whole nother story that you'll hear in the next few days. But you have not because you ask not. So reach out.